Hello friends, and welcome back to another episode of Beautifully Nerding. I'm your host Auntie Bri, and today we are watching another classic. I decided that I wanted to watch 1992's Boomerang starring Eddi Murphy simply because it was available on Paramount Plus. I'm kind of getting to a point where a lot of the things that I'm wanting to watch I'm struggling to find on streaming, so I really do need to take a day to go to the library or go to used bookstores and slowly browse the racks of DVDs because it's getting to a point where I don't know what I'm going to be able to watch. So Boomerang, it stars Eddi Murphy, Halle Berry, Robin Givens, Martin Lawrence, a bunch of other folks. I love watching Eddi Murphy leading man roles from the 90s because I had the biggest crush. The few things I did get to see him in, or just like the pictures I saw of him, I just thought he was so handsome. So now actually going back and seeing him in the movies and like the things he was starring in, I'm just like, oh yeah, no, like I was completely justified in having a big crush on him. Like now, the stuff now, I'm not saying that he's not attractive, but he's more attractive in like a dad way now, and that's just not the demographic that I am looking for in this moment. So it's just, I just don't see him like that anymore. But like going back to like 90s Eddi Murphy, please and thank you. The only thing about it, and I talked about it in my Harlem Nights movie review, is just Eddi Murphy's laugh. I didn't realize that was his legitimate laugh. And like your Dr. Dolittle, your Nutty Professor, your stuff like that, it always seemed like the laugh was just such like a put on. It seemed like the scene was set so he could have this big grandiose laugh. Now going back and watching movies that have comedic moments but maybe aren't necessarily comedies, I'm realizing like, no, this is his legitimate laugh. I don't know how to feel about that because I would never want to judge somebody for something that they cannot control. But anyway, Boomerang. So in this, Eddi Murphy plays Marcus, who is an ad exec who prides himself on being like the pinnacle when it comes to getting women, but he just hasn't found that perfect person yet. Either they aren't that bright, or they have bad toes, or they're a stalker neighbor who they went on one date with and had to get a restraining order against. Now Marcus's company is in the process of being bought out, and he goes to chat with Lady Eloise, who is played by the wonderful Eartha Kitt. I love seeing her. And he does whatever he has to do to get that new promotion because he's aiming to run the marketing department. Understand what I'm not saying. He does whatever he needs to do. Now, unfortunately for Marcus, Lady Eloise doesn't really have that power anymore to decide who gets what promotion. The new head of marketing comes to the company, and it is Jacqueline, who is played by Robin Givens. And I'm realizing I don't know Jacqueline's last name. Even in the credits, there's just first names for everything. The only reason I know like Marcus's last name is Graham is because they use it a lot. Like I legitimately don't remember what Jacqueline's last name is. It's not necessary, but like, I don't know. I feel like it would give the characters more humanity. But of course, because it's Robin Givens and Marcus has eyes, he wants to sleep with Jacqueline. You know, that's his newest conquest. I'm just like, hey, maybe not try to sleep with women that you work with. There's so many other women you can choose from. And a slight cat and mouse game is initiated. Marcus is trying to put, his smoothest moves on Jacqueline. She's playing a long game, which I didn't actually pick up on at first because I have zero game whatsoever. So game recognizes game. So if you don't have it, you don't. I honestly took what Jacqueline was saying at face value, that, she was focused on work, that she didn't want to mess with people that she was working with, which is smart. And then like later, it just got really confusing because I didn't understand what she was trying to say. It was a game. And I was like, what's happening here?
This is my Mac Daddy vibe I'm giving you in all of its splendor. What's up?
Really?
Yes, I'm the Alleganza Mac Daddy of the month.
Oh, I see.
I think that we should kind of make this clear right from the start so there's no misunderstanding. You see, I don't date men. I work with.
Well, then I quit.
You can't quit.
So at this point, I had to pause the movie because I got frustrated. You know, I'm trying to understand what the lesson is that's here to be learned. If literally everyone wants to sleep with Marcus, like, where's the drama? Where's the intrigue? You know, what is keeping me going and making me care? So I did finally get back to the movie. I had a little bit of patience left intact, and we're back at the actual marketing agency of it all, and they're working to get their new fragrance launched. And they're working with their newest face of the company, Strange, played by Grace Jones. She is, let's just say, eccentric. She tries the fragrance and she doesn't really like it. She says it doesn't give enough of the essence of sex. And she indicates the smell that she wants by taking off her underwear and rubbing them on the scientist's face. Now, I get that this is supposed to be, you know, shock and awe and super funny, because like, oh my gosh, who would ever do something like that? Ha 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 ha. All I could think of was like, not only is this an HR nightmare, but that is so incredibly unsanitary. Like, why that? And then the part that got me the most was that like the guy just like stood there. From the film perspective, this is probably like a clean pair of underwear, like that had been on no one's body, and like I'm sure everyone was fine with everything that was happening. But from what was supposed to be portrayed in the movie and how I'm supposed to see them, absolutely not. I don't care if we are in a board meeting right now, we're boxing. If you think you are going to put your worn, used underwear on my face, I don't care what you want this perfume to smell like. Rightfully, the scientist is upset. He storms out, but Marcus is able to calm down the scientist. It's really just setting up Marcus to be literally the most perfect guy, and that we all should be rooting for him. So why am I not? I still kind of couldn't tell you why that early on. I just was not rooting for this character. So the movie continues, and there is a business conference in New Orleans, and Marcus and Angela, who was played by Halle Berry, are flying down together, and I'm like, what's happening here? What's this happening? And honestly, I should have seen this coming, because the actual banner art on Paramount Plus is a big picture of a shirtless Eddi Murphy standing behind Halle Berry, and they're like hugged up. But like, I hadn't fully processed that until a little bit later. I'm just like, okay, cool. Like, maybe they're trying to like make Jacqueline jealous or something like that. Like, okay. So when I'm watching the plane scene, I'm like, what is this? What is this chemistry that you're trying to create between the two of them? Because they're literally dating each other's friends, because Angela is dating Gerard, who is Marcus's friend. Marcus is trying to do whatever it is that he has going on with Jacqueline. So I'm like, why is there being a seed planted between these two people who we are supposed to see as platonic? Because later on it literally says that like that they were best friends, but like I never got an actual friend vibe. All I got was they're co-workers who are able to have conversations with one another, and that Angela has a crush on Marcus. It's like Angela reads my mind, because she tries to plant a seed for Marcus and Jacqueline that New Orleans is a very like romantic city. Try to create some togetherness for the two of them.
Yeah, it's a romantic town, you know? It's the kind of place where you just take somebody that you love and just sit back, relax, throw on the jazz, and just chill, you know? That's something you can do when Jacqueline gets to town, you know?
Now, where'd that come from?
So what does Marcus do? He takes Jacqueline to a dance club and tries to grind up on her. And I'm watching this and I'm just like, guys, like sometimes we just want to dance and enjoy the music, okay? Like you don't have to press your body into our bodies and grind on us at every single occasion. Like sometimes we could just move to the music, you know? Like there's nothing wrong with that. And Jacqueline says that she's not feeling it and that, you know, she wants to go home. And then to my surprise, she invites him into her hotel room and they end up sleeping together. I had gotten a bit of sexual tension between the two of them, but it more so felt like she enjoyed the flirtation that she was receiving from Marcus, but I didn't actually get interest from her end. When she invited him into her room, I was just like, where is this coming from? Since there had been such a a long game played, Marcus is starting to develop feelings. So now Marcus is completely head over heels for Jacqueline. And now it's her turn to be like, yeah, let's just let New Orleans be that.
Excuse me. I know that you're not telling me that New Orleans was a fling.
No. I had a great time in New Orleans. You know I had a great time in New Orleans.
So what's the problem?
Well, I just think that New Orleans was New Orleans, and we should leave it at that.
And for me, I'm like, we're not seeing Jacqueline's full perspective and like a two can play that game type of movie where like you see both sides of the coin, where both parties are playing a game and trying to, you know, outwit the other. We as the audience are supposed to understand that Marcus is actually trying to find a partner to commit to. He just like nitpicks every single thing about the women that he is dating. He just is also sleeping with them extremely early. Whereas we're supposed to see him as just this great guy who is trying to find his person. But, you know, there's just so much wrong with every other single person, and he's not the bad guy. He's just dating. And I'm just like, nah, bruh, because if you're really trying to find that person, like, you need to have more conversations outside of just physicality. But anyway, Jacqueline tells Marcus that he has to get on her schedule, and Marcus is waiting by the phone for her to call. And finally her secretary calls and it's like she has an opening 3 weeks from now, and Marcus really has no choice. So he's like, all right, cool. But then the day comes and she misses the date and then comes over later in a trench coat and not much else. But she definitely did do him dirty. And we as the viewer are supposed to just kind of see it as like him getting a taste of his own medicine. The tables have been turned. I still wasn't team Marcus just yet. And Jacqueline was starting to lose me a bit. Because at first I was like, ooh, girl boss, she's baddie. As a girl's girl, I wanted her to win, you know, to show him that like, hey, you're being a bad person. Don't do that. And I would never stop a fellow girly from doing her thing. So now Marcus doesn't know what to feel about Jacqueline. They go out to a dinner with Strong J. And when Jacqueline goes to the bathroom, Strong J lets Marcus know that Jacqueline told her how good he is in bed. Now, this is on top of the $200 that Jacqueline left the time when she came over in the trench coat. She left $200 on his nightstand. And Marcus is completely feeling like a piece of meat. And Strong J is literally throwing herself at him. Like, she legitimately busted wide open in the restaurant. And is like screaming nicknames for body parts in the middle of this restaurant. And I'm just like, Miss Ma'am, you are that girl. Like, you don't have to be this openly thirsty to get like, but she's not used to being told no. And so she takes that rejection very harshly and she goes to leave and like doesn't want to do the campaign anymore. But Jacqueline like essentially threatens Strong J and it's like, we've already paid you this much and you still got to do this and like we're in a contract, so of course the movie has to continue. So Strong J is like, all right, cool. So now Marcus is super in his feelings. Jacqueline's already playing with his emotions. She left money on his nightstand to show that like literally she just paid for sex with him. And also she's just talking about their escapades to literally someone that they work for. Like they both work under Strong J. So I'm just like, why is this a necessary conversation? We got the sad music playing underneath while Marcus is coming into work. When Marcus gets to his floor, all of the women, including Jacqueline, are like standing around kikiing and they all stop when he walks up. So of course him, like anybody who has any common sense, knows that they're talking about him. And this is where I lost all respect for Jacqueline. Because one, why are you telling anybody what you and someone are doing sexually? Why are you telling people that you work for what you and someone else are doing sexually, that y'all both work for? And two, why are you telling groups of people that work under you what you and a fellow coworker who they also work under are doing sexually? Like, what happened to discretion? Completely lost me for Jacqueline. I can't do with you no more. I cannot cheer for you anymore. After the dinner that went super wrong with Strong J, Marcus and Jacqueline have officially ended what they're doing. I guess that fully gave Jacqueline the go ahead to tell the entire world about how they slept together. Marcus is kind of like moping around and in his feelings. And then I guess it's Thanksgiving later because Gerard's parents come up in a scene that is very random and very unnecessary, but it was very funny. So I appreciated that. Marcus, Angela, Tyler, Gerard, and Gerard's parents are having Thanksgiving at Marcus's house. At this point, we're an hour and a half into the movie, and this is the most I've laughed at this whole movie. Most of the time, I was not laughing, mainly because a lot of the characters pissed me off. But I was just like, okay, you know, just gotta keep watching it for the culture. The main source of my laughter for this entire scene was John Witherspoon. Like, he was a gem, and he is missed dearly because he has that funny without really trying down pat. There are a lot of dishes to wash, and essentially Marcus needs Angela's help. So after hours of washing dishes, like, why did it take you that long to wash all them dishes? Here's where I start to kind of get a little confused and I'm not fully understanding the direction that this movie is supposed to be going in, because even though Angela and Gerard have been like screaming from the mountaintops how they're just friends, they still have been like hanging out and having dates. They even like tried to have a good night kiss. They were still hanging out and like getting to know each other, and Gerard still really liked her. I understand that Gerard probably had to like take his parents somewhere, but I just don't understand that, like, you know, Marcus is your work friend. You also are having some kind of something with his friend. So, like, why would you even stay at his house? Like, I just didn't understand, outside of it being a plot device, why Angela would have even still been there. But you could definitely tell from early on in the movie that Angela had a crush on Marcus, but it was in that he'll probably go for my friend because I'm invisible to everyone when I'm standing beside her type of way, because she was definitely like the more quiet, reserved, kind of like nerdy girl in the background, whereas like Jacqueline was the, like, you know, long haired bombshell, like very like forward with her sexuality, got way more attention. I never got any type of vibe that Marcus was feeling anything towards Angela. And so the next part just kind of confused me, because they sat down on the couch after having washed the dishes for hours, which again, why did it take so long? Star Trek was on, and they started kind of like talking about how much they really like Star Trek, but since they were both so tired from the super long day, they ended up falling asleep. And when they wake up, they're all like cuddled up and they end up sleeping together. And I'm just like, how did we get here? Like, I was just thoroughly confused. It felt completely out of nowhere to me. This revelation perturbs Jacqueline because, like, she didn't super care about Marcus, but this information infuriates Gerard into giving Marcus a very well-deserved piece of his mind.
A couple seconds ago, you didn't care who she went out with. Now you find out it's me and you're flipping, you know? You're being a hypocrite.
I don't want to hear that bullshit, man. This is different. Angela is a nice girl.
So I can't be with a nice girl?
No, because all you're going to do is dog her out like you do every woman in your life. Okay, tell me this, man. Why Angela? What, she has nice feet?
Oh, it has nothing to do with her feet or anything like that, man. I care about this
Man,
girl.
you don't care about nobody but yourself, man.
And so now Marcus and Angela are dating, which this timeline is so wild, because I have no sense of reference of when any of this is happening. Like, this could all be like in a week's time span. It could be in the span of a year. I legitimately don't know. But time does not stop Marcus from messing up this new relationship, because, you know, you never want the person that's good for you. You know, you want the person that brings you excitement that is chaos. Like, who needs the safety and security of Star Trek when you can have missed dates and flimsy apologies? So now you've ruined your friendship, and you've also unnecessarily hurt this girl who really liked you, just so you go running back to this girl who honestly doesn't actually have feelings for you.
Hey.
Yeah.
No, that was Angela. She just stopped by for a second.
Uh-huh.
Really? Oh, that's... Hey, your spot tested through the roof.
And so Marcus and Jacqueline end up sleeping together again. And Marcus tries to sneak back in the bed after spending the night with Jacqueline, which she doesn't actually want him, but Marcus is just so convinced that he can, I don't know, change her mind. Who knows? Jacqueline doesn't even really want Marcus anymore. Of course, he unsuccessfully sneaks back, and in the morning, Angela gives him a piece of her mind as well. So now you've had two people finally telling this man about himself.
Didn't you just hear me say I was sorry?
I heard you say you're sorry. You're sorry and you're tired. You don't love me. You don't love Jacqueline. You only love your damn self.
And so they break up. She takes her stuff. Marcus tries to find solace in Jacqueline's bed, but he immediately realizes that he is actually in love with Angela and leaves to go back home. And so Marcus and Gerard make up in that like super expedited male way that like I would never actually understand, because there's no actual, hey, I'm going to change my actions. It's just like, we've been boys since we was kids. Oh man, you know, da 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 da. And then they're cool. And it's just like, no, we need to talk about this. Angela is a much harder sell. So she actually got a new job, which means that she had to stop teaching the art class. And she's also completely ignoring all correspondence from Marcus. He ends up coming to her new job with some of the kids. So like the kids go in first and then like he goes in later. And I'm just like, this is like 15 levels of unprofessional. Like this whole movie, this could be in somebody's HR training of what not to do. Because everything in this movie is just like, you would have been fired 11 times over. He kind of apologizes. Angela was standing her ground for a little bit, but she did still care about him, but was, you know, afraid of getting hurt. He did essentially cheat on her with her best friend, so that's a thing. But it just kind of felt like his apology was more of a like, it's been so long, why are you still mad? And I don't like that.
Give me one reason why I should take you back. One. I didn't think you could.
You still love me?
But it's legitimately the end of the movie, so they make up and essentially walk off into the sunset. And I'm just like, no, this is a very unsatisfying ending, because it's not giving taking responsibilities for one's actions. I don't feel like I actually saw a friendship developing between Angela and Marcus. I was not invested in rooting for them whatsoever. So like when they broke up, I was like, good. Like, you didn't need Jacqueline or Marcus. The ending of the movie, it just felt so rushed. The whole movie just felt like we are supposed to cheer for Eddi Murphy's character because he's the main character and we should want him to win. You should want me to want him to win. Like, don't just tell me to be like, yeah, this is the main character, so cheer for him. Like, make me care. I can't say I cared for this movie. It was an interesting watch. Whoever did Eddi Murphy's makeup, I can't say that they did a bad job, because like makeup for black people in the 90s most of the time looks really bad. Robin Givens' makeup made her look a little pale. Eddi Murphy's makeup, because Eddi Murphy is a dark-skinned guy, nobody was making makeup for dark-skinned people at the time, so it looks like he looks casket fresh. It was not great. Yeah, that was Boomerang. That was a movie that is there. If you all have any recommendations for me, please feel free to leave them in the comments down below. Don't forget to like, share with all your friends, and subscribe, and I'll catch y'all next time. Bye.